This is no illusion. This piano can play Frédéric Chopin's Ballade No. 2 in F major without a pianist. What you're listening to here is the exact reproduction of a performance that was recorded by the instrument and then played again, providing all the intentions of the pianist. But what are the details that make this performance so singular? How to define the style of a professional pianist? What are the tools used to bring a score to life? A scientific team has decided to investigate. We are at the IRCAM, a research institute specialized in music. This is where mathematician Elaine and her team attempt to pierce the mysteries of musical interpretation. This professional pianist has spent 20 years developing this project. To compile this study and collect data about pianists' performances, she can rely on this extraordinary piano.
This type of piano was designed as a player piano to be able to replay performances even when no one is there. So often you might see this in a hotel lobby. People might buy it to have it in their home to hear, for example, Rachmaninoff or Glenn Gould play in their living room. But here we're using it very differently. To us, this is a scientific instrument. A scientific instrument that is like the MRI machine, but for performances. And we're extracting details, fine details of the performances with the help of recordings on this machine.
Equipped with many sensors, this piano can record the exact pressure of the pianist's fingers on the keys, the speed at which they play, and even the movements of their feet on the pedals. The instrument will then reproduce the human performance identically. The extremely fine details recorded by the piano are sent to a computer in data form. For several months, professional pianists will take turns on this keyboard to play different pieces. Based on the same score, they will add their own style, give a particular color to their interpretation by making choices and technical effects that the piano will record.
We are, in effect, asking musicians to reveal the secrets of the trade. And some musicians may not like that, but I think there are many who would be interested in explaining what it is that they do. It's like a magician revealing their tricks and how is it that you do it. I believe that the more we know, the more knowledge we have about something, the more we are able to enjoy it.
Every piece recorded by this piano will be analyzed and explained by the pianist himself. It'll also be passed on to less expert ears. The researchers will make an online application available to the greater public to listen to the recordings and make comments on them. For this participative science project, the listeners will have to indicate where musical phrases start and finish, for example, identify groups of notes or particular accents placed on certain notes. Based on these annotations, the researchers will develop a computer model reproducing the reactions of listeners and will thus be able to automatically analyze the performances of each pianist.
The elements that make us perceive certain things in one way or another are the result of very many sources. They come from both the score and the patterns we can distinguish inside it. They'll come from the interpreter, who has noticed some patterns among all of those we could spot and pass them on in their interpretation. And they'll also come from the listener, who will listen and pick out certain elements or not.
The choice for the performer comes in what to highlight of all the options within the score. So over here, I've noticed that the notes are grouped in fours. Right, so there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the left hand is doing this long line. And a shorter phrase going up to a note that is the peak. That's a bit tense, and then coming back down. And we put that together, the fours against this long line. Okay, so that's how it should sound, but hopefully, if you now know that I was thinking of those fours, you pay attention to them And you hear that in the tension between that grouping of fours and that long line in the left hand coming together and sort of like meshing together. And you hear it slightly differently.
By identifying the techniques used by professional pianists during their performances, this project will provide tools for the greater public to explore this expert musical vocabulary and maybe even draw inspiration from it. A way of grasping the human signature left on the ivory and ebony of a keyboard.